Okay, and now I'm gonna just give like the boilerplate implementation of a neural network, specifically in PyTorch. So PyTorch has this base class, and it's called like just module class. And this module class essentially has like, it has like it has like things defined, like the architecture, like a base architecture, and then a base like forward function. And so if we want to implement any neural network, typically what we'll do is, we'll have like class, and then, whatever the name is, and then we're going to inherit from this module. So we're going to say nn.module, and then we're going to instantiate with init self, and then we're going to call the base architecture from the module class with super. So it's going to be like super, and then, init, like that, right? And then from there, this is where, in the rest of this this function, we'll just define our specific model architecture. For example, if we have a linear layer, maybe we'll call it like self.linear, and then we'll just set it equal to, the neural network linear, and then we'll give it, our input and our output values, right? And then, so you can do linear. There's also dropout, right? So there's like there's the dropout function. There's the, sorry, it's nn. My pen's not good. My pen. Like the nn.dropout. There's, there's sigmoid, which basically makes it like a probability distribution and makes it like between 0 and 1. There's ReLU, which is like you add an activation to it. And so, yeah, this is where we define the model architecture. So yeah, that's pretty much the start, where we're going to import, obviously, we're going to call this the super class, and in module, we're going to define our model architecture, and then we're going to have our forward function. Like, it would be something along the lines of like define forward, and then, it'd be like self, and then, parameter 1, or any of the other parameters, right? And this is where we kind of, in the forward pass, I guess the forward method, it'll define the actual path that the data takes through the network, right? So you remember, if we have like a neural network, something along the lines of this, right? It's just like these different layers of like these nets, these nodes connected, and then, they go forward, from layer to layer, performing linear regression on each node, updating, and then getting an output, and then that output is the input for the next layer, and then we get another output, right? So the forward pass is where we're just defining like how the data flows, and we're calling like the forward pass, right? So usually that'll be where we take our model architecture from above, and then we will pass in whatever the parameters are into like the given layers that's part of our architecture, and then we're just gonna flow, like call them on each other, right? So for example, if the first layer would have been, let's say it's a linear layer, and then it takes in the first parameter, and then maybe the next layer is like the next layer is where we do the ReLU. So we would have done like the self dot ReLU, and maybe that's it. Let's say there's only 2 layers, right? And then we would just return that. So the forward one is pretty simple. It's just how the data flows in the neural network from each layer. And yeah, that's like a pretty basic how we would implement a neural network. Obviously, you should familiarize yourself with these different base methods in the base module that's given. Yeah.